I missed what you said, Jerry.
Meeting starts when it's supposed to start.
There we go. So here we are at the May 1st meeting of NatickFOSS, a user group in Metro West Boston area, but meeting online using Jitsi Meet if you're here. I'm hearing feedback. Who's everybody else mute? Is that me? Ooh, this is confusing. Well, I'm going to try again, but I'm hearing feedback. I wonder if I have two microphones on myself. Doesn't look like it there. Lord. Oh, I know what it is.
Yeah, everybody's muted except you.
What happened? You can. Yeah, the live broadcast was in a tab on my Firefox browser, and it was a couple of moments later than the live feed that we are doing here. So the recording that was going out there was feeding back through my headphones. Now I've turned that off and can continue more cogently. So we are meeting here live as the NatickFOSS user group. And we are just recently done with a presentation of our Linux connection at the Science on State Street presentation at Framingham State University in this local area. Several of the people who are present were there. Does anybody have feedback or good comments to make about that event? I think Ed made a comment earlier. Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, I thought it went, compared to the last two, I think this one went quite well. I think we had more people came. Mostly everybody that stopped by to talk to me had an interest in Vivaldi, and I gave out the rest of the thumb drives that I had and 2/3 of the Vivaldi hats. So, and I relayed that information to Vivaldi, and they seemed very pleased. So I hope it'll result in an increased downloads from new users, not just on desktop but mobile as well. I wish, honestly, I wish it could be indoors every year, because I thought that was a pretty good venue that we had on Saturday.
Yeah, Ed, I was going to say about the same thing. I think it's better when we're indoors.
Indoors definitely makes our presentations seem a little more professional, somehow being out in a parking lot with the wind blowing and everybody trying to adjust the papers and keep the monitors from falling over is a little bit tough. Hello, Bill Ricker. Welcome. Okay, then let me get to our agenda as the next step of our process. Starting screen sharing for a window and Firefox. This is the agenda as seen on the website, NatickFOSS.org, our archives, and the upcoming meeting. This is not the one from which I actually work during meetings. That's a local copy. It's a little easier for me to read, and using a smartphone with the camera of modern ones or a QR code reader, if you have a cell phone of that type, you can photograph that QR code and or follow the link that pops up on your screen to actually get access to the links that are live at this time. The same links are on this page as are on the archives page. There's not a lot of difference other than the arrangement of the parts of the page. And if you want to go looking at some of these links, it's easier to do from your computer or cell phone in that case. The page that is linked is in fact representing this address at the top of the address bar. That's what the QR code goes to. All right. I don't see anybody in the crowd that is new, but I do see a hand up.
Yeah, I had put in, I think Tuesday, I put out that Fedora 42 was released. And I don't see it
I
here. I put it
guess
in
I
under,
missed that.
excuse me?
I
put it
guess I
under,
missed that, and we'll add it to the adjusted agenda afterwards.
yeah, I put it under hot software.
Oh, you
So I
mean
don't
on
know.
the actual work
Yeah,
page?
yeah,
This one is the actual work page, a GitLab.
yep. I, yeah, I put it in the other day.
And what page was it on?
It was under was under 2505.
But for hot software, you said?
Yep. It was just above the Kermit.
I don't think I saw it. This is the live screen of what's at GitHub right now. Let me go to the history and see if page history. There it is. 2 days ago you entered it. Somehow, oh, I know what might have happened. I may have had the agenda open in my browser, worked from the agenda that was open in my browser and saved, which wiped out your change. That's my fault then. So I will make sure that that doesn't happen next month.
Not a problem.
But we can grab what was in here and pull it into the agenda that gets published after the fact. Do you have something to say about the
No, not really.
agenda? About the 40?
I've been using the beta for about a month, and it's a nice upgrade from 41, but not a big major difference.
As long as it doesn't change so that you can't use it, a change is generally for the better.
Yeah.
Good. As I say, sorry, we'll try to avoid that in the future. All right. Let me get back to the agenda that is on the screen now. And FOSS News says that not only is Fedora 42 out, but we have the April release of Ubuntu's Plucky Puffin, which is called an interim release by the canonical people. A lot of people in this group used to be Ubuntu focused. I'm not sure that can be said any longer. I don't use the standard Ubuntu. I use Kubuntu and tend to stick with the long-term support, which I heard somebody's voice in the background. The next item of FOSS News is actually a video, which we don't play during our meetings. That is one of the ways to make Jitsi and any video sharing conversation go a little bit sideways. Just too much bandwidth is involved to play it through onto the meeting. But this is the Linux experiment. Excuse me. Linux experiment is the actual name. I mistyped it. I'm good at that, I guess. Doing things slightly wrong. Linux isn't just better, it's more fun. And Nick of that video series explains how he sees Linux as the way to really enjoy using your computer that neither the Apple nor the Microsoft experience offers, because they are more monolithic and less flexible because they want to be just used. That is his opinion as a longtime Linux proponent, that Linux is fun, and the examples he gives in the video are definitely worth watching. So if you aren't already watching the Linux experiment, that's his channel name, I recommend that you take a look at this one. Heard a comment again in the background. Somebody want to speak? I'm not sure who it is. Maybe it's Dick and Jill who are entering. I see their names on the list. They may have had their microphones on. Welcome to them. Haven't gotten to anything that they need to present yet, so we'll continue. History of FOSS is our next topic. And the Git maintenance tool for software development was born 20 years ago. And that seems a long time back, but then Linux has been around since 1993, so that's a bit longer too. Git was the answer that Linus Torvalds, the creator of Linux as the operating system kernel, to help developers share their software in a convenient and less clunky way for the other systems that were in play at the time. He wrote it very quickly, he said, and did not expect anybody to care beyond himself. But it has become more and more popular among those who create software so that they can easily share it with others on a Forge site with not needing to be the person who hosts the actual software on a computer, but to allow other sources. I use GitLab as the place for our agendas as the example. And we share the job of putting new items for this agenda. Anybody actually a Git user these days? Okay, Jerry?
Yeah, I use GitHub. When I was at Red Hat, that's all we used was Git. So I did a lot of work with Git, but I used Git even before that when I was at Algorithmics. I set up a Git repository. But I really learned how to use the advanced features of Git when I was at Red Hat.
Did you use anything like Subversion, which I think was one of the ones in Git became so popular?
I've used a whole bunch. At different places I've worked. Never used Subversion, but I've used others.
I've not developed myself, as I've before. I'm a medium to upper level user, but Git is semi-opaque to me, as much of development is. Bob, excuse me, it's Bill, hand up. I'm not getting sound from Bill. Okay.
I think Bill's having technical problems.
Yep, that happens on these meetings.
Do I have the mic now?
Yes. It went away, maybe.
Getting from static from Bill.
If we can, Bill, I'll hold off on your comment once you get your microphone resolved. Back, please. Okay. And the last bit of FOSS history is another video, the origins of the grep command with its connections to the very early Unix text editor, the ED program, and its name method, why it was called grep instead of something else. In this case, I'm not going to reveal the answer because it's much more interesting to hear Kernighan tell it than to hear me override his skill. Many of you may know that. Anyway. All right, I think we're at a point where Dick and Jill are present and can jump in to give us their best resources for learning Linux, which is the first item of the hot software topic. I will unshare my screen if that helps. Is that good for you, Dick?
Looks good to me. Uh, I'm working with a strange combination of software. It's my usual computer, but with a few things stirred in differently than I'm used to. Uh, I guess I'd like to start by just saying hello. And we, of course, have been working many years with beginners, people who once upon a time had never seen a computer before, and more recently, ones that are mostly coming from Windows, a few from Mac, to Linux. And where do you start? Where do you train a beginner to go back to? Um, and what are the best routes for doing it? The first thing I want to mention is Linux is very different from the commercial alternatives out there, but they're the ones that have most users. They're the ones that have stores specializing in pushing them. And first question, why use Linux? I've come up with a new analogy that I use. It's been very successful. I wonder why I didn't find it sooner. Um, very simply, Linux is English for computers. Who owns English? Who decides which English you should be using? There are dialects, there's slang, and there's elegant, sort of awkward English, and there's places in between. Like English, Linux is allowed to evolve and have the best ones for different purposes, take over for those purposes to some degree, and they get improved upon. New words get added, new tools get added. Who should be in charge? Like English, the answer is nobody. But you've got the opposite going on with those alternatives. And that's my first introduction to Linux. It's why it might be worth looking in the first place. Second one, of course, is it's free. You can get more good software more easily, instantly. You don't have to go to the store. And you can talk to friends about it. With those concepts in mind, and it often takes 3 rounds before they catch on, people are ready to look at Linux. And when they look at it, I've been using Linux Mint. It seems like it's very smooth for people coming from Windows and not that bad for Mac. And it's an easy transition in that sense. It's also a very smooth, friendly operation. And it has a lot of tools aboard that explain themselves when you want. I think that's very valuable for someone that just spent an hour with us, but going to spend a week with their computer and come back with a few questions. So my first comment is learn what you have in the system that will give you answers. You obviously are going to find a big document or two, and you're not going to read them all the time. How can you get instant help? More and more, I'm finding the F1 key in many, many applications and Linux will get you what you want instead of getting you a generic way to get in to find what you want. If you're in a given routine, just try hitting F1 while you're in it. Half the time you'll get good advice on that routine. Half the time you won't. In Photox, which I help develop a tiny bit by commenting and suggesting, everything works on F1. It's got over 100 tools aboard. And as you get to start using a new one, all you do is open it and tap F1. And from a huge user manual, you're right in the place you wish you could have found yourself. Bit by bit, I see other places going to that also. So learn how to use the F1 key and find out how good it is for the actual task you're doing at the moment with the actual product. And of course, feedback works wonderfully in Linux, much better than in English. You can actually find the guy in charge. And just a minute, Bill, I saw a message very briefly there. If it's pertinent to what I just said, sure, horn on in. Otherwise, let's keep questions for the end. But Bill, I think you had something pertinent. Oh, okay. Save it. We'll have some good comment, I'm sure. So my second comment is talk to the author. You can. It's a very rare case where they won't appreciate the feedback. That's how I got so deep into Photox. I had a really good question, not a good answer, to start the trip. And then I started giving feedback because it was so good for what I do. So don't be shy. These are real people. These aren't corporate executives pretending they're real people. The third one is just about everywhere in the world now, and certainly around Boston, you've got friends you haven't met yet. Find the local user group. Around Boston, we're one of a bunch. And we're a good one. I like it. But there's other ones too. If the time doesn't agree with you or something. And you can often catch the recorded session afterward if you can't make it on time. Almost everybody is online these days. I hope we'll be back to in-room meetings soon, but I don't anticipate it being real soon. There's a lot of bugs out there. Jill and I have been fighting through one for the past 2 weeks. So offline is good too. And you've got a good tool with your Linux computer to get right in and play on it. So local user groups, NatickFOSS, hurrah, NatickFOSS.org. It's that simple. You can find it anytime, and you can find it live once a month. All obvious information at the beginning. Thank you, thank you. How about the fancier stuff? Are there wonderful, giant, $50 size textbooks on Linux and on Linux applications? Linux generally has its own from home base, but it's got a lot of home bases, like English. And I happen to be using one called Linux Mint. And it likes the color green for some reason I haven't figured out yet, but it matched my t-shirt, so I tried it and I liked it. And a few other reasons too. Linux Mint has a really big user manual, easily online. Let's see. Jill, remind me of my funny current setup. How do I get across to display the screen instead of me?
Oh, you go down.
You want to
Move your car. Here, I'll do it.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'll be faster. Jill and I are both suffering from a very strange kind of cold, flu, something like. We each totally forget some things some of the time. The good news is we almost never forget the same thing, both of us at the same time. So we've been helping each other a lot lately. And I can focus on one thing, possibly two things at once. Not three.
Where do you want to go?
I just want to display my screen.
I think I set it up for screen
Okay.
sharing.
Let me set up my screen and do something. Are you seeing my little Linux Mint item in the corner?
Yes.
Yeah?
Your
Not
screen is showing.
Oh,
Yep.
there you go. Okay. Okay. And if I just touch it, not much, but if I click on it, I get a lot of options. And one of them is anything you want. It's right up top. And if it's got the cursor blinking, you're ready to type. So I'll say user manual. And see if I get anything. It says, oh, take a look over here. Whoops, that doesn't look right. Earphone, that's not the one I want.
What it says? Oh yeah.
How about Mint manual? See what I get for that.
Nothing.
Well, there's a good demo. Try user guide. And the point is, most systems have something like this. It doesn't always work exactly the way you expect.
You may have to take out Mint.
I don't see why, but okay. I'm getting spoiled with something I'll talk about later. Interesting. When all else fails, you can try a different tool. Software Manager it's generating a cache. I'll wait so it can do its thing first. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. About now, please, kind sir. Oh, it didn't work. Well, it's almost there, honest. And I like that I'm sharing the screen. Good to know. That's taking more time than I expected. Well, I can go in and say what I want. This is very strange. I should have no trouble with it. Am I disconnected for some reason?
It looks like your cache is full.
Oh, no, it isn't.
It just came up.
Something's very full. That's all the time. It's been working real hard to find it. I see over here, but over here, I see my memory is over half empty, even counting the gray line of cache memory at the top. So it wasn't a cache problem. Sometimes it's, but in any case, it's advertising all the 50,000 or so Linux programs that Linux Mint already thinks are a great fit. If you get them from Linux Mint, they'll be a great fit. They're the ones that came from Linux Mint. With exceptions. The exceptions are ones that no one's updated for a couple of years. And sadly, last week, Photox was one of those, and I attempted to tell them to upgrade it themselves so they learn how, and maybe it's fixed and maybe not. But anyway, they're featuring a few things up top that they really want you to look at. They have other items down here, and you can scroll them, which are ones that have been pretty popular and that you'd like to see them. Down under, they've got a list of the most popular ones, and in the middle, they've got categories. Let's see what category could help us.
You can move that little, you're sharing your screen out of the way. And
Yeah, when I'm done with it. But I'm looking for system tools, office fonts, games, programming. I don't see anything here that sounds quite like a manual. So I'll just start up here again and see what I get when I hit enter. Well, it came up with a user guide for a flavor of Linux. Let me see if it does anything with cinnamon, which is the flavor of Linux Mint that I'm running. Screen look and feel. Does that do anything? No matching packages. Oh. Better.
Bob Premack put in the chat, there is no comprehensive manual, but probably an often used commands list can be found in the tutorials forum.
Well, let's try that. There's a whopper big manual, at least for Linux Mint. Here we come. Let's see what I got. All kinds of things to do with it. Wallpapers to make it pretty. Come on, guys. Well, Bob, let's go look for the other suggestion, which was to look elsewhere within here. Actions. I can't believe it wasn't in here. Not in there. Well, when all else fails, I'll look at my own collection. Here, possibly. Try that for ideas. And just a minute before I do, let's try my luck with Money, which has stuff on Linux in it that I haven't looked at lately, but it should have that standard one. I'm surprised it isn't. And if not, we go back to tutorials and look. But in it, I'll do a find on, that was a Control F, by the way, something to teach a beginner early on. And well, Linux Journal from way back when, not what I'm looking for.
661 matches.
I have too much, not what I want. Back we go to Linux Mint. And let's see. See if that gets me anything.
Nope.
I have to go through the main stuff. Oh, this is a disaster.
Look in the chat, and Bob has a link in there.
Oh, can you look and tell me where to go?
Yeah.
I can
Forums.linuxmint.com.
Yeah, well, I thought I got to it automatically before. And where is it today? Let's see.
Jill, Jill, I updated
Yeah.
what was in chat. I found the documentation.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was right on top where it's easy.
linuxmint.com/documentation/.php.
Oh, oh, you want to go online to it?
Online.
Can do. Out, out, out. I'll take my trip in Firefox. Dimension 1. There we go.
Did go down to the chat.
Oh. Where are you?
On the meeting, meet.c.
I'm sorry.
The meeting.
Oh. That's still in here somewhere. Should be. Not there. Not there. Whoops, sorry. No. I had too many open. That's my.
There it is. Now go
Okay.
down to the chat.
Hello, all.
And scroll. Here it is. Yeah, there we go.
This is so simple. It's much simpler than that. I'll post my solution when I find it again. But in any case, Linux Mint User Guide, and this is the official one, and it gets updated steadily, but basically it's one that was put up in 2003 and gets updated with little patches. It's quite good. So Update Manager is where you go shopping. You can go shopping in a Snap store. Mint prefers you don't, but you can. And that just starts going into everything. This is a very nice user manual. And it tells you where to get software, how to use it.
Didn't you
Looks
have?
tiny here. Now,
Didn't you have a YouTube channel that had all sorts of
yeah,
stuff?
this is what Linux Mint offers, and I expect most any Linux will have something like it. So you can find it and browse, but I'll find an easier way to find it from the Linux prompt. Wonder what was switched off. Anyway, there's another way to find it. That's just to go online and see what other people have. Like, for instance, just fishing. Let's see. For beginners, this looks full size somehow, but maybe it isn't. Private AI Smart Assistant. I will not use that for beginners. Half of them can be trouble, and it's hard to tell which half by the week as they learn new tricks. They're fascinating, but I prefer not to put all my best stuff online with them. Like with X, Twitter. I don't do it either. But let's see what else we have there. What?
That's what back here.
I thought I was going back one under this. Isn't that what does it? The hell with it.
You want to go to YouTube or something like or FreeTube?
No, that's later.
Oh, okay.
What else do we have? This one I couldn't find. It's even, there's the community. beginning to hit what I'm looking for, but I can't yet identify. The one I'm looking for has 43 chapters, each of which is a full one. This would be a nice starting one, for example, and there's plenty of them. I think this is the official one we were just looking at. Begin Linux. It's FOSS. Come on, I want a big one. I'm not yet recognized. I think it advertises the 43 in the write-up. Ask Woody is always good, but that's going to be a fairly short one, I think. I'm looking for the giant one.
Dick,
Maybe. No, first time, no. That's
perhaps it would be worth having you take some moments offline to locate this and then come back with when you have found it.
It's even simpler than that, Al got. It was the last of the tools I was going to demonstrate. It's very thorough, and I can simply let you post it to the meeting list afterward.
So stop sharing. So
That
we can
seems
get back to
reasonable.
sharing.
So I will do that. I think I'm better prepared on the other one, and I'm really surprised because I thought this was going to be there for the asking.
Did you stop sharing?
No, you're going to. I'm still puzzling over where it is. Of course.
Thank you very much. Jerry had a comment he wanted to drop in. And I'm not hearing Jerry's
Okay,
comment,
I'm unmuted.
but I'm seeing
Yeah, I just
his
wanted
shared
to mention that this Saturday we're having a Linux Install Fest at UMass Boston. It will be in the McCormick Building. I'll be there. Bill will be there. John Abreu will be there. And Glenn Hoffman. So some of you might remember from the Macintosh group at the Boston Computer Society. And I have a bunch of USBs for different distributions, including a Ventoy, which I finally got working on my system. And it will be in the McCormick Building, 3rd floor. Hopefully Glenn will have put some signs up. And parking, actually, you can take the
excellent.
T to JFK UMass and take the shuttle. And that takes you to Campus Center. And the building is 2 buildings away from Campus Center, a very short walk. And or you can park in the Campus Center parking garage. And it's going to be a standard Linux Install Fest. We haven't had one in a long time. I'm looking for a Dunkin' Donuts that I can stop on the way. Probably do one in Framingham because the one at Campus Center is closed on Saturdays. So that's all I wanted to say.
All right. Thank you very much. We look forward to the resurrection of those. Bill, you had something earlier that you wanted to tell us about? Uh-oh. Sound is off again. You appear to be muted. Maybe things will get fixed and you can shout out in the middle of anybody else so that you get it said. How's that? All right, I'm going to reshare if I'm ready to do that. Back to my window and to the share. I was able to get to the Linux Mint documentation page. That may or may not be the one that you want to share with me for the user guide. But you can confirm that, Dick, with your search later and include it in the chat or an email, and we'll get it into the final archive version of the agenda. Okay. The comment here about hot software and the Kermit typeface is something I'm going to just mention sideways. Kermit is supposed to be a handwritten style of lettering, making it more accessible to children than several other fonts for the purpose of learning how to write and things like that. It is, however, Microsoft Office only, as far as I can determine.
Live streaming is on.
As you can see on the screen now, the Kermit design is intended to work like the flow of written or printed lettering, allowing you as a student to better learn how to follow the flow of letters from one to the next to the next. And that is an issue that helps to overcome dyslexia, which is the study, or excuse me, the condition of being unable to see what the words really say. It's something that many, many children struggle and often give up reading. The idea behind this font is to make it possible for children to more easily learn to read and to come to love reading. It was created by a company known as Underwear, and probably is a very good idea. It's not the only dyslexic aid design for text, but I find it sad that Microsoft has said that they will only share it by way of Microsoft Office, making a whole bunch of other people unable to use it. There is a web font that they have access to on their website, and that is here, the Kermit font, but it is impossible to get that to work on my system, at least. Helps to see that it's a wonderful thing, but if you can't experiment with it and use it unless you're in Microsoft Office, is it as good as it ought to be? My personal feeling is that it's not. that's why it's kind of a sideways comment, because we are the fans of open source in this user group, and open source includes accessible fonts, even if you have to pay for them to put them into your documents. You buy a license from the font developer, you can use them as you see fit. Here, you can only use them if you're using Microsoft Office, and that strikes me as the wrong way to go about helping the typeface to be useful. Okay, the next issue in my hot software is something we started to talk about last month but didn't quite get to. I've developed a web page to help describe the use of Inkscape, my preferred graphic software for doing vector graphics. And if you follow the link, once you get to the archives, you will see this explanation in text form. And I'm going to unshare my screen momentarily so that I can get to the sharing of my overall screen in order to be able to do Inkscape with all of its wonderful features. So I'm going to do the entire screen share. And now that should be, where is it? Did it not happen? Is my screen shared? No.
Nope.
All right, let me try again. Entire screen. Share. Okay. All right, so I think it's there now. I'm going to go to Inkscape and hope that you see that. Is everybody seeing that?
Not yet.
Nope.
Technical issues. Well, maybe I can do most of it if I share a window of my Inkscape screen. Let's try that. Emote. Where is this? Are you seeing my screen at
Yes.
the moment?
Yes.
All right. This will do, I think, for what we have planned anyway. Inkscape is a tool that allows you to do all sorts of neat things, including drawing straight lines that curve, straight lines that are straight lines, and things like that. But if you want to do a lot of repeat graphics, what you want to do is to get to the object menu and come down to see symbols. And this is why I wanted to share my whole screen, because I'm not sure everybody is seeing my menus.
True.
The
Not
object,
seeing your menu.
yeah, and unfortunately, that would have been better. But I'm going to go to the symbols menu, the symbols item on the menu, and show you that there are all sorts of symbol sets. The first two at the top of mine. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing my menu?
Yes.
Okay. The two here, the AR symbols and the emotes, will be where we get to later in the process. But I wanted to show some of these others that are built in. Those two, the symbols by me and the emotes are by me. So they're not in everybody's install, but the AIGA symbol signs represent some that are, and you're probably familiar with a lot of the elements of this. Pictures of telephones on a white background, a dark background, an email icon. These things are intended for popular routine use. And here are the two that are in the article that I have posted to back up this document. And if I click on either one of these and drag it over, I get what is known as a clone copy of that, which I can then manipulate within my own document. It's responding slowly here. I don't want to rotate at the moment. I want to, there we go. I want to expand that so that I can move it into position on the page, and then write an article or talk about the nature of symbols for some reason of male and female bathrooms. This symbol seems to indicate a combined option. But if you wanted to have signage to direct people to where the toilets were in a restaurant, you probably would choose this symbol to say, down this hall, you will find the bathrooms for both males and females. Okay, that's standard symbols. And there are all these others that are part of the AIGA symbol set. 130 symbols available. In addition to those, you got word balloons, types of flowchart elements, logic symbols, United States National Park Service map symbols, and on that are built into the software as you see it. So you have a downhill skier, drag that over, and you get a clone of it. It doesn't remove it from the symbol set, it just clones it here on the page. Now, if you want that to be a blue symbol, you would change the color to blue and everything would be fine. But some symbols, it turns out, are not all one color. And if you wanted the skis to be something else and not blue, or the shape of the person on his skis to be some other combination, you would need to unclone this. And again, you can't see the menu being pulled down, but if I go to the menu over here, oh, I'm on the wrong one. Go down in the edit menu to find unlink clone, and then you can work with the parts, changing them as you need them. Let me make this bigger. I've just made the small part bigger because I did the wrong thing. I want all of it to be made bigger. There we go. Now, if I want to select just the ski and make the ski a red ski, I can do that. I could not do that while it was a cloned image. It has to be uncloned. And I could make the head into black hair and leave the blue if I wanted it, the body to be blue. I could even do a great deal more work considering making parts of this different colors, but that might be more a complex operation than we want to try to do in this demo. All right. Now, it is possible to make your own objects that are not everywhere. And if I go to the ones that are the ones I use often, it used to be that I would take these symbols and have them available in a file of symbols that was just on my computer and available for me to reuse. Many of these are my creation, not all of them. I've used some of them over and over again. This is my logo that I use in a lot of the things I do. Did it come over? Yep. And I typically use that in blue. So if I were labeling some work, I would have picked that up from where I had it and plunk it into a document so that it could be used. That's all well and good. Then I read I saw a video online that explained that symbols of this sort could be collected into a file that could be made into one of these symbols sets. So I went about trying to do it, followed the directions to get that done. And the result was that I took not only these symbols and called them the AR symbols, which are more or less unique to my needs, but then I also had a whole bunch of symbols of faces that I thought might be more generally useful for expressing emotions. These were some that I made up over time for a bunch of words of the day activities that I was involved in for several years on an online forum. And I used them during the development of my word of the day illustrations. So I thought these could be interesting for others to be able to use. Now, I could have just created a file, but I was interested to see if I could also have them become symbols that were useful in a symbol file, because that makes the system a little more easy to implement. You implement it by creating whatever set of symbols you want, and then going through a relatively straightforward process, do a conversion of them into the form of a symbol, which is not easy to illustrate here in the demo, unfortunately, because you have to create a new file and have a whole set of symbols ready to go, and that would take a bit of time to set up. But there's a relatively straightforward process in the article that is on the agenda. And if you want to try it out for yourself, that would be a way to do it. You can also see the video that I watched in order to get to this point. And finally, if you want these symbols, they are in fact shared on the here. Share again. window.
You stopped the sharing, apparently.
Yep, I stopped the sharing so I could come back to this share of the Inkscape symbols article. Much of what I just talked about. You can see I played around with the skier and created one going uphill. You convert all your images by copying them to a new Inkscape document. You group all the parts of every symbol that you have, not all the symbols, but each symbol to be a single unit, and then convert each one of them into what is known as a symbol format, giving each object that you've created an ID that is unique to the set of symbols, preferably one that is unique to all the symbols. In other words, you couldn't have two downhill skiers, one that you made and one that was already in the set of symbols that are delivered with Inkscape. That's something that has been proposed to make the symbol names unique in some special way. But if you created a dropper symbol to talk about picking up color, that's one of the Inkscape type symbols, and called it dropper, even though its original group name was something silly like ID G3, and you click the set button, you'd wind up with your whole set of symbols at the end of the process, and then you can share the file. If you want to try this and use it in your own work with Inkscape, you download this emotes SVG file, scalable vector graphics. You noticed while I was demoing, I could change the size of the graphics and it didn't pixelate. That's one of the good things. You copy it or move it, preferably to the Linux location of config with a dot before it. It's a hidden folder, Inkscape symbols, and then you would be able to grab them and work with them. As you can see, some of the symbols are easier to convert. This one had a white face to begin with. You could remove the face white, but you'd want to leave the tooth white, I presume. If you removed all the background, you'd kind of have not such a good looking one. But these are modifiable and can be very straightforward to use once they're in your symbols library. That's really what you're talking about, making a library of symbols for reuse. And there you are. A person named Maren Hackman from Inkscape Forum was helpful with comments and recommendations as I learned how to do the symbol conversion. And at some point, it may be possible that these will appear in Inkscape repository in one way or another. That would be a very exciting moment for me. But there you are with that, and I will go back to the agenda and ask if you have any questions.
From the last switch over, I wasn't seeing a screen share.
There was no screen share of the
Okay.
of the Inkscape of the
The conversion to SVG format.
We didn't have it
the
either.
article part.
Yeah, several of us didn't see it.
I don't even think it got shared.
Okay.
Let me see if I can do that again, just for quick review.
Well, it'll be in the agenda. It'll be
here.
in the revised agenda.
Yes. The link is already there to that article if you want to go to it. It's the demo link. All right. But you are not seeing the agenda either, I suppose.
No, not
Is
yet.
that correct?
Not yet.
Correct.
All right. Let me share again. Window. Escape symbols. Share.
There.
Are you seeing part
That'll work.
of the article?
That'll work.
All right. This is the article that I was describing as I rolled my mouse up and down. There's that up and down skier in multiple colors. Discussion of how to deal with parts that are not the same color as other parts. Creating your own custom symbols. The group that I have called emotes. And the process here of how to jump through the limited number of hoops to create a set for sharing in the library form. Okay. Thank you for your kind attention, and good luck if you decide to use them. Let me know if you have any trouble. I'll see if I can explain the problems you're encountering. I'll try to correct them. Okay, hot hardware. A Braille reader is an expensive tool, apparently. And it turns out that that expense makes people with skills attempt to do a better job for less money. A $50 Braille reader would be a boon to anyone who's blind and wants the ability to read Braille with less trouble. And in Forbes website, turns out boy in the grid created a $50 Braille reader, won $3,500 US dollars, I presume. I'm not sure if they are US dollars. It just is amazing to me how creative people can be. Somewhere between $2,000 and $20,000, unaffordable for most students and difficult for most institutions to have them around for people who need them. I expect the schools for the blind will jump on this new tool once it becomes commercially available. I don't know when and if that's going to actually happen. I can hope. All right. The next link, hot hardware, is really for your perusal at a different time because it's a long and detailed explanation of how old software does not necessarily benefit from the speed gains of new hardware, and explains a lot of the reasons why old software is a bottleneck no matter what hardware you have. And it's quite an interesting explanation of the process by an engineer, a multifaceted engineer. He's a woodworker, a metal worker, musician, And here he's talking about some of his own programs written in C that he decided to compare on the 7 or 8 computers that he has in his lab to see how the Moore's law that at one time said every year we're going to double our performance with computers so that software will become faster and faster and faster. And of course, it hasn't kept up with that plan. Every 18 months, then every couple of years, and now it's maybe 4 or 5 years before you get significant improvement between hardware versions. The limits of Moore's law have apparently been almost reached. But I do recommend this YouTube video be on your watch when you're. Okay. Hot internet. No web without women. This is a document that's published online talking about all these kinds of World Wide Web wannabe hopes that things could happen and would not have happened if it hadn't been for people like Ada Lovelace, who wrote the first algorithm for the Babbage analytical engine long, long ago in the 1830s. And because she brilliantly understood the concept of software engineering, she in effect wrote that algorithm and software for his newly developed computer. So this article is worth coming into to talk about the contributions that we overlook a lot of times. Okay, we've got FreeTube. Dick, are you ready to pick up on that?
Yes, the other one.
Hi. I think this one is harder to lose in the computer. Let's see.
Select the window, which is probably going to be
Do you
the whole
want me to
thing.
unshare?
Yes.
I think so. I'm ready to come aboard.
Yeah. Okay.
And you're sharing now.
Good. Actually, Jerry, looking at your helicopter behind you there, and I might have a gift for you in this talk.
Okay.
We move this up so
Yeah, okay.
it isn't in the middle of the window.
Go away. And go away. Okay. There are, I think most users of Linux that I know use Firefox for their web browsing. Certainly the common winner out there. And I've asked around to some degree and found out that no one I had talked to, of half a dozen, had been using any alternative to it. There's a lot of them out there. Why? What's wrong with Firefox? What's better about them? Well, I want to start by saying that Firefox is 3 things hiding in one. One is it's a web browser. You knew that. It can go out and find things and look at them on the web and help you to put something there. But in addition to that, Firefox is a huge collection of the information you're browsing. it's the home library for a lot of it, and that makes it more valuable. The third thing it is if you've listened to the news for the last couple of weeks, the U.S. and through the U.S., the world is in a radical political point right now. And what's going on is people that can manipulate the system are manipulating it more to their personal benefit. And we're hearing a lot about the row that's going on in the United States. But if you haven't heard, there's been rioting in Russia. There's been rioting in China. This is not a local issue, although we were the fews. I say we in the projective manner. But the politics and the means for getting ahead in the game have a lot to do with computers. And the wealthiest people who want to do the most manipulating have been acquiring computer applications, websites, and utilizing them as leverage for their political points. What the hell does this have to do with Firefox? Well, back when Google acquired Firefox, and what do you know? One of the billionaires came along and bought Google. And what do you know? It is tracking you, and the tracking data is now more vulnerable to misuse than it's ever been before. And we're finding out a lot about how bad it was before that no one told us sooner. So these are interesting times and good times to look into a still FOSS project, one that's being run for the users, with the users. You get the software if you want to look into it to see what it's really doing inside or to build on it. And a lot of people have been sharing that reason and that easily available technology to create a whopping set of alternatives. And I found the first one that grabbed my attention was FreeTube instead of YouTube. That sounded good to me. And FreeTube is one of many different first front ends. You can keep your data and use it, but use it through a front end that doesn't leave your tracks at the other end. That's FreeTube and a bunch of others. That's not YouTube. So that's the first concept there. And second thing I found, a lot of people like it. Third thing I found is Linux Mint likes it. It's on their list. And the fourth thing I found is it's fast and easy to load into my Linux Mint, and probably everything else with the possible exception of iMac stuff. Macintosh has recently, I'm talking about within a month or two, I think, taken a step to make itself a little more special. And it resulted in one of the basic routines that these other facilities use not running smoothly. A lot of people were complaining about it because Macs are now not totally universal in readability by others. I think it's going to get worked out quickly. Mac has already been saying they're planning to come out with a good solution to that issue. But the versions they had on offer for Mac are no longer available directly. Other places have them online anyway, and you can try them. I think that's astonishing, but boy, is it equipped. So let's take a look. I am going to go to my Linux Mint indicator down in the lower left. I'm going to click on it. Let's see if it listens better. I could type out FreeTube, but it turns out it's even easier than that. Look, FR already got me FreeTube at the top of the list. It's popular. And here it comes. It comes up fast. It didn't take much longer than that to install it. It was just remarkably easy to install. And it brings up things quickly. And you can roll out the YouTube library and look at everything else if you wish, etc., etc. But because Sherry had that very nice helicopter showing, I found something I liked a lot, and half of you will like it. And it's about a 2-minute hit once I find it. So I'll just say, okay, let's go find something for me. And by God, it's there already. Oscar Brown was a very popular folk singer for my crowd all around the 1960s or so. And this one I had never heard until FreeTube found it for me. Special for Jerry, but everyone else can enjoy. I just click on it and boink, here it is. Give me operations. Well, this one only has an album cover on it, but it went right there. This one is the one I want because it's much more interesting on the video side of things. Stand back, here we go.
Are you hearing sound? Because I'm not.
Yes. Oh,
I
I
both
am.
will hear your sound.
No sound? Were you not hearing sound?
Correct.
Okay, let me see. What's that about? God, everything today.
It's pretty rare for music to play through on online videos.
I thought it was working here. That just shouldn't matter. Okay. This thing sits on. Oh, back to there and check. I don't have one for the computer sound. Is that it? See if that helps.
No, I think you're going to have to turn off your earphones.
Okay. Jill thinks my earphones may be the culprit, and I'll off them. They should be off. If I was hearing something, I'd know. Coming through, Jill?
Nope.
Nope. No. Okay. I'm taking them off. I'm putting them in their case, which by definition turns them off, but leaves them set to where they were. Other than that. 1. Okay. They should be off. Let's try our luck again.
I think we're hearing it through your microphone now.
Right.
Is it going?
We can hear it some, but make it louder.
Better? Let's try again.
Working.
Is that loud enough, Jim?
Yes.
No, don't give me a P-38. The props, they rotate. They're scattered and smitten from birth. Don't give me a P-38. No, give me operations way out on some lonely atoll. For I am too young to die. I just want to roll. And don't give me a P-39.
Do you have
The engine
subtitles
is
you can turn on?
behind. She'll tumble and spin and she'll auger you in. Don't give me a P-39.
I thought they were in there.
Give me operations.
Oh, there.
Way out in some lonely atoll.
Try the
For
deal.
I am too young to die.
Try
I
the
just
deal.
want to grow.
Yeah.
Don't give me a Peter
Nope.
Furrow. It's a hell of an airplane, I know.
Okay.
She's a ground looping bastard, and you're sure to get plastered. Don't give me a Peter Furrow. No, give me operations way out in some lonely atoll. For I am too young to die. I just want to grow. Don't give me an AT-60 with rockets, radar, and AV. She's fast, I don't care. She blows up in midair. Don't give me an AT-60. No, give me operations way out on some lonely atoll. For I am too young to die. I just want to grow. And don't give me an F-84. She's just a ground-loving whore. She'll walk, she'll wheeze, and make straight for the trees. Don't give me an F-84. No, give me operations. Some lonely atoll. For I am too young to die. I just want to grow. No!
And there you have it. So a minute while I get my back on me. Okay. How do I get my face back?
You turn off.
Okay.
blue
Yeah,
button
not
up there.
yet. Not yet. But thank you. Okay. So we have tons of information available, live stuff, community stuff. Wow. And now I think you can see some of what I was looking for earlier. I'll send the right one on later, and it's very, very quick on doing searches, has lots of filtering capabilities. FreeTube looks excellent to me after just days of playing with it. And I think this ought to be a topic for next month, because I think a lot of you will be looking at a lot of alternatives to FreeTube, to YouTube and Firefox. By the way, I've got Firefox on my computer. Here's the FreeTube. But in addition to Firefox, I have LibreWolf, I have, and a few other alternatives for that. So I'm now considering this to be a choice to load onto people's computers as a first best choice. But that's my several days into it opinion. Let's tune in next month and see what other people have. She'll have something immediately.
Yes, I have a comment on it, and that is if you follow certain YouTube channels and you want to comment on them, you essentially have to go through YouTube directly. You can't use FreeTube. It won't let you log on to Google to get to make a comment onto your YouTube channel.
Well, I think that's half the picture. I'm not sure yet of the details, but there's a lot of settings options. And I mean, a lot of settings options. And here's a quick look. Look down the column almost to the left. And you can just see a couple of the categories under general. And if you scroll through the main stuff, there's a lot of stuff. And a lot of it opens other stuff and keeps going. So this is a learning process for all the extra tools. I thought I made one really bad mistake. For several days, I set up subscriptions, my personal links to a particular person, a particular topic, anything you can find, you can make a subscription to. And now it's gathering that information on the side all the time, and you can go look at a quick summary of it. Well, I have this Money is Not Wealth website, and among other things, I put in the link next to the subject line for each article. I was putting in FreeTube links, which go through a different server, but you can put in Firefox links if you wish, and YouTube links. And I put in the wrong ones, and it turned out you can get to them using Firefox, for instance, but it's a 3-step process that isn't obvious to the beginner. I said, oh no, I'm going to have to go through 100 links and change the address one by one. Nope, it offers a simple switch for doing that. Poof, it stepped me through all of them and asked me if I wanted to change it. I could have put it on automatic, but I chose to look before I clicked a single button to accept it. So it's got all kinds of layers of tools in it, and it has a lot of extensions I haven't even looked at yet. And welcome to a very interesting, secure, private new toy. And it blocks ads on just about everything that had ads under YouTube. This is nice. So when you go to its site, and you've got that in the agenda, you can just click on it. You can load from there. You can just read about it first. You can read in more detail about it, etc., etc. Very well supported. Chat groups, the whole bit. See you on this topic next month. Bye now.
Unshare
Oh,
and turn off your mic.
Okay. Thank you, Dick. Any questions about FreeTube? It sounds like a front end rather than a separate source of video. Is that correct?
definitely true. And it's not the source, but you'll find you've got bigger, better worldwide sources when you ask for it. I've just been delighted.
In other words, it's not
the U.S.
tied.
What?
It's not tied to the YouTube video system. You can pick up other video broadcasts or podcasts, as they're called now?
You better believe it. I've been very interested in this political situation, and I can not only get all of them, but I get instant, pretty good translation to English from 100 languages. The news about the U.S. from afar from the U.S. is especially fascinating. It's a whole new world out there.
When I saw the original proposal, I thought you meant that this was going to be something like PeerTube, which is the federated software that does a similar job to YouTube, but is not a commercial product.
Well, this does a similar job to YouTube, and it's not a commercial product. But
well,
it may be similar.
Meaning as
There's a big PeerTube may have been in the list that I skimmed through on the way to picking FreeTube to lean in on. So I think it's one of the many.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
All right. Back to the agenda. Did I lose my Firefox? I've lost my Firefox. Ah, there it is. No, that's not it. I don't see a Firefox window. Let me cancel for a moment. Go here, then go here. And it appears. Okay. We're into the latter part of the topics: computer security, privacy, and freedom. Google has developed a way to let AI suspend what they consider to be fraudulent ad accounts. I hope that their effort works, and if this is a use of AI technology that actually saves us from fraud ads, then I think we're in favor of that AI use. I'm going to let you follow links here rather than having me go to the articles, because we want to try to finish this up within our 9-minute remaining time. Hacked crosswalks. Some hackers, not good people perhaps, and should be considered crackers then, not hackers, who expand the use of hardware. Somebody figured out how to get the text that is read and spoken at the automated crosswalks for blind people to not do what it was supposed to. The crossing light is on for all crossings. Crossing light is on for all crossings. Tack, 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 tack. That's more or less what it's supposed to say. And it was a bad password, 1, 2, 3, 4, that caused the crosswalk software to be accessible by people who had bad wishes for the rest of humanity. Because those things are not just used by blind people, but by paying less attention at the crosswalks than they should as pedestrians. Even worse, we have the large language model code dependencies allowing for malware to be injected into whatever you're creating with the large language model code. That, I think, is a bad thing. And I hope you will check it out to find out what you might be able to do about it if you're a programmer and you force yourself to use the VIBE method of programming. VIBE is what they're calling programming that's largely done by just using the ChatGPT style of question and answer. Make me code to draw a pretty picture of a sunset. And well, maybe you get sunset with a malware built into it if you are not careful. If you have Android spyware, you want to remove it. This article tells you how to. I haven't followed it. And then we have the Perplexity Comet browser, which has been specifically designed to track every single thing that you do on your computer, whether it's browser related or not. Taking up where Dick left off with his comments about Mozilla and Firefox and who owns Mozilla and who owns Firefox and therefore can do what they want. This brazenly upfront about it browser from Perplexity says, don't worry, we'll know everything about you on your computer. Please use our Comet browser. Good luck. And finally, artificial intelligence, similar to some of the security issues. Our Department of Ed secretary, who has taken over, was in a meeting with other people and referred to artificial intelligence in education as A1 software, not AI software, but A1. Apparently she knows all sorts of things we don't know about education. Of course, she does have the background of being the wife of the WWE primary owner. So maybe that says something. And finally, if you use the portal software for contacting your hospital and primary care physician, as I do with Mass General's portal, there have been primary care physicians who are overworked and have used generative AI to do automated